Hey guys, I'm Jake Silver and I'm a millennial and I do movie reviews because I love movies. I watch about a movie a day. I've watched movies my whole life, and yet there's so many unexplored movies, and I want to give a fresh take on movies by, as a younger movie watcher, sharing my first thoughts when I see a movie. So believe it or not, I've kind of tended towards the obscure a little bit, and I'm starting to really explore more popular, more iconic movies now. Most recently, I watched the movie Fargo, and I just wanted to give some thoughts on Fargo. And I'm talking about, of course, the movie Fargo, not the series. Should go without saying, being that this is a series about movie reviews. So to jump right into it, Fargo. Why had I not seen Fargo? Let's just say when I was younger, someone told me that a person in Fargo gets fed through a meat grinder, and that didn't really make me want to see the movie. Some people would probably run right out and see that movie. I'm not a huge horror guy. I've watched a lot of horror movies, but when I watch one, I tend to kind of stray more towards the psychological thriller type of horror rather than the gore type. Fargo is not a horror movie at all. Fargo is not a gory movie at all. It was a total misconception, and I probably should have read a little more about it, or at least given it more of a chance. But now I've seen it, so hopefully I've righted my wrongs in the eyes of the movie gods. I knew a few things going into it, very few. Someone gets fed through a meat grinder. Turns out that's a wood chipper, which makes more sense given that it's in Fargo, North Dakota. I knew that Steve Buscemi was in it, obviously famous, beloved actor. I knew the creepy guy from Prison Break was in it, and that was really it. So three very small things, and I did somehow I missed the fact that William H. Macy was in it. That was a very pleasant surprise in the first scene. How do you describe Fargo? The fact that it takes place in North Dakota should mesh pretty well with your perception of the Cohen brothers. They really like to kind of take it out of the normal element and put their twist on things with some really creative music and a very kind of dry direction that always just seems to work out perfectly. The Coen brothers are kind of like the Daniel Day-Lewis of directors, in my opinion. And so, Coen brothers, if you're watching, hopefully you believe I'm a true fan now that I've actually seen Fargo. So the film follows Jerry Lundegaard, played by William H. Macy, who you learn right away has hired two thugs, Grimsrold and Showalter, played by Peter Stormare, who was the creepy guy from Prison Break, if you will, and Steve Buscemi's character, Showalter. And he wants to pay them a lot of money for them to kidnap his wife. He's planning to get the wife's father to pay the ransom, split the ransom with them. We later learn out that he told the thugs, I'm just going to refer to them as the thugs now, that he would give them $40,000 of the $80,000 ransom amount. He actually was planning to write the ransom note himself for $1 million and basically pocket $960,000 because he's in a hole for an awful lot of money. We kind of pick up bits and pieces about what it might be throughout the film, but for the most part, we just know that he really needs money, enough that he wants two very, very bad guys to kidnap his wife. When he enters his home and sees that she has been kidnapped and that there was a pretty violent struggle, he actually seems kind of happy. And the next scene, we see him rehearsing his speech that he's going to give to the police. William H. Macy, for being one of the most innocent and innocuous-looking people, is actually kind of a low-key thug himself in this movie. So where does that take us? I guess we'll just do a spoiler review right here. So spoilers, what I just gave you was not a whole lot of a spoiler. Basically, is all set up in like the first 5-10 minutes. Things go wrong. The thugs, they end up gunning down a cop and two eyewitnesses who witnessed the murder of the cop. The police chief, who's 7 months pregnant, played by Frances McDormand, her name is Marge Gunderson. She starts going after it, and she is the most, she is the most awesome character you can ever imagine. She won the she won Best Actress for the film, the Academy Award. So that should tell you something about her performance. But basically, just someone who acts like the most hardened criminal and how nothing phases them, and yet she's the nicest, jolliest person in the world, and really just takes her job seriously, and supports her husband. She goes after the case. I'll kind of leave it right there, just to leave a little bit of a cliffhanger. How do these bad guys, what happens with them? Does the wife get returned? Does everyone make it out alive? Does anyone get their comeuppance? But nothing new here. I'd give the film a 10 out of 10. I think most people who've seen it, it'd be pretty hard to give it anything less. There's not a bad scene in the movie. So go watch it. This has been, I'm sorry for all the ums. This is kind of a first time thing. But I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'm really trying to get this channel going, so subscribe if you want to. If not, hopefully you can check back with me down the line, and I've revised my tone a little bit. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm the Millennial Reviewer, and this has been my review of Fargo.